Yoga teachers, when you cue people to bring their arms up and you notice that the shoulders are scrunched up to their ears, what cue do you say? Do you tell them to pull your shoulders down? Or have you been told not to say that, but you actually don't know why? Well, my friends, this wonderful tutorial is going to teach you a little bit more insight into the anatomy of the shoulders and how we can give a more updated version of that cue so that people's shoulders feel good in all the poses that you teach and in all of your classes. I'm Bree Johnson, and I'm here to share yoga teaching tips and yoga anatomy tips so that you can be a better, more happy, wonderful teacher. If you like it, subscribe, do all that fun stuff, and then let's get into this tutorial. Okay, now, of course, the reasonable thing to say when we see somebody looking uncomfortable with the arms in the air, shoulders scrunched into the ears, is to say, pull the shoulder blades down. Pull the shoulders down, and voila, it fixed it, right? You're no longer having those shoulders up to the ears. Except it fixed it only on a surface level. What we want to start to teach in our classes is to undo that excessive work of our upper traps and tension all in the upper neck area by offering more opportunities for the glenohumeral joint, the shoulder joint here, which is a ball and socket joint, which means that ball and socket joint can move around and should move around in all sorts of ways. Unfortunately, I can't give you one cue, one simple phrase to say that's going to replace pull the shoulder blades down, because we're more complex than that. And as yoga teachers, understanding your anatomy a little bit more in a movement perspective helps you to realize, oh wow, one cue does not rule them all. One cue is not going to work for everybody in my classes. So it's important to want to try to reframe it from, okay, I shouldn't say pull the shoulder blades down. Now I'm going to say this instead. So let's go through a couple different shoulder warm-ups that you can start your classes with so that you don't have to use that cue as often as you think, and you can bring it into different ways. So first let's warm up the shoulders, and then let's look at how we can re-cue arms up so that we don't get this. So let's quickly run through some of my favorite shoulder warm-ups at the beginning of a class. Now you can do and teach these standing up, sitting down, however it works for people. Both options are going to work great. The first place that we want to move would be the scapula, the shoulder blades, and we circle them. And from the outside, it looks like you're rolling the shoulders, but there's a difference between shoulder-initiated rolling or scapula-initiated rolling. Well, the first thing that you want to know is that there's about 17 muscles attached to your shoulder blades. So just by moving the shoulder blades themselves like this, you're moving 17 muscles. Muscles that connect to the neck, to the skull, to the arm bone, to your collarbones, to the ribs. It connects to everything. So by getting the shoulder blades moving, you're giving so much more ease and freedom into the shoulders. And if you think about it, most people coming to your classes probably are not moving their shoulder blades in their full range of motion. So there's huge benefits to that. So I almost always, depending on the class, almost always add in shoulder blade circles. When in doubt, get those shoulder blades moving in all the different ways. And then over time, reaching the arms up will no longer feel as tight because the shoulder blades have more range of motion to help move the arm to the sky. So the shoulder blades help move the arm. So move the shoulder blades first. Now the second part of this is the glenohumeral joint. This is your humerus bone, is the upper arm bone. And again, this is a ball and socket joint. So that humerus wants to and can move in all sorts of different ways. But in our yoga practice, especially, what are the two ways that we tend to move our arms? Like this and like that. And do we rarely ever add rotations into the joints like this, or even just moving the arms in between those 2 points? So another really important thing to do to help create a healthy environment in the shoulders so that you don't even have to use the cue, pull the shoulder blades down as much, is to get more movement into the glenohumeral joint and arms in general. Okay, so these are two of my favorite ways of doing it. First, you want to bring the arms out, and then I like to do internal and external rotation of the humerus. So you can have people reach the arms out. The key is to actually really not move the forearms as much as it's the upper arm. So I like to cue biceps roll down, biceps roll out. Internal rotations, biceps move down. External rotation, bicep moves out. And then you repeat that movement. And then the beautiful part about this, then you get to do it in all the angles. There is so much movement potential in our shoulder joints that it's really important to invite that movement potential in all the ways. And the other benefit of these internal and external rotations is that it's strengthening the muscles around the shoulder joint, like the rotator cuffs, so that you are getting more strong, mobile, and happy shoulders. So this is a beautiful warm-up at the beginning of the class. You can spend as much time as you want, but there's the quick preview. So that's really important, not only to have that rotational movement into the joint, but adding not just arms up or arms out, but rotating, reaching in all the ways. Now, we've got those two really important shoulder movements that I recommend adding into virtually every class that you have, because the benefits of these two movements, scapula movement, shoulder joint movement, is going to have just such far-reaching benefits so that people move with more ease, less pain, and it's just, there's a lot of goodness packed into those two movements, more so than just arms up and do that 50 million times over the course of a yoga career or practice. But what do you do? Even if you offer that in your classes, it's still likely going to happen when you cue inhale, arms up, and then you see that half the class has their shoulders in the air like this, and you just want to say pull your shoulders down, and then you remember this video and you go, oh wait, what was I supposed to say? Well, let's play with some different options here. I think in some way, it's a pretty complex reasoning as to why some people's shoulders are going to be like this. One of the biggest ones, though, of course, not only as we've talked about with the tension and mobility and tightness, or immobility and tightness in people's shoulders and traps, is also that we actually probably push the arms further than they want to go or can go. So I would encourage people as a teacher not to go into these final magical perfect end ranges, meaning inhale, arms up, or sometimes it's been cued, you know, get those arms in between your ears. And if somebody's lats, chest, shoulder, neck are all tight, in order for them to even get the arms close to the head, they have to really push themselves into it, and maybe often push the ribs out and reach the arms and create more tension than they need. When the end goal, hopefully, as we all know, is not to just be so mobile that magically we can have our arms comfortably up. That's not the goal. The goal is to have healthy, wonderful shoulders. So then if you're cueing arms up, just experiment. Have people inhale, arms up, and only reach your arms as far as you can comfortably hold them up. So that cue, what I just said, has had nothing to do with the head. You're just saying, hey, let's explore. We're bringing your arms up, and you'll notice a point where you can't really move as easily. How about you stop there? And then maybe you have people come in and out of it a few times so that it's mapped in their mind body. For example, so again, you can cue something along the lines of bring the arms up, and then notice where it stops being a little bit easy, and that's where you're going to pause. And then bring the arms down, and sometimes even just repeating that movement helps to map that out in people's brains and go, oh, right about there is when I want to start to squish and move. So you're doing preventative action here. You're teaching people to be more empowered rather than forcing themselves into this position. You're going, hey, you're offering them an option to go, hey, that's where I am today. And then the next layer of your teaching is continuing to create an environment where that's okay, where nobody is looking around and being like, oh no, her arms are further, I'm not a good yoga person. No, part of our work as teachers is to create loving and inclusive, comfortable, safe spaces, right? So offering cues, again, just, hey, explore what it feels like to just have your arms as high as it feels comfortable. And then you're going to notice, because here's some other things, and if you're looking at your people in your classes straight on, you might also notice this too. When you have them do that, some people's arms are going to go a little bit wider. Should you fix that? No. Because if they're respecting their natural range of motion, they're going to, when we go into the overhead position, quite often if the lats and whatnot are tight, they're going to just naturally open the arms in order to get them a little higher, and that's okay too. So it's not about the end result, but instead it's about first offering a whole bunch of different opportunities for mobility in the shoulder blades and the glenohumeral joint, your shoulder joints, so that eventually, maybe, their mobility improves and it feels a little bit more easeful to have the arms up. And in the moment of cueing the arms up, if people just have the arms here, 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 anywhere, that's okay. Hopefully now, in this world that we're in, we remember as yoga teachers, we are not looking for perfection from our students. There's no such thing as the right way to do a pose. The right way to do a pose is the right way for you at any given time. And a teacher, we offer these more pared down movement opportunities, preparatory work you could think of, so that things like this are a little bit easier and you don't have to use the cues. Now pull your shoulder blades down. No, instead it's like, hey, how do I feel? Where do my arms want to be? Hooray, hurrah. So I hope this helps you. Again, it's not this, I wish it was as easy as another cue just to replace that one, and here's the one thing you need to say, but it's never that easy when we're working with diverse populations of people, when we're creating classes that are inclusive and loving. We want to be able to have a deeper understanding of our anatomy so that we can be better teachers, cue more lovingly, and have people feel good about themselves, both how they are and as they are. So if you have more questions about this or want more videos on other cues that you don't quite understand, leave a comment and we'll make them for you. Thank you for being here.